Stark told me you'd be doing the legwork for him. Feel free to look around.
Bakın kim buradaymış.
Wow, things really got out of hand here.
An unfinished bottle of rum.
Spilled beer led to spilled blood.
The lenses are very thick. The owner of these glasses is very nearsighted. Someone must have landed hard on it. Shards of a broken bottle with blood on them. Solid oak. It took quite a blow to break it. That's a lot of blood. The victim was stabbed several times. Sharp enough to gut a fish or a man. An ordinary kitchen knife. It all started when the trader accidentally spilled his beer over the sailor. The trader punched the soldier who came crashing down on a table. The worker smashed a bottle over the trader's head, then the sailor knocked the worker out with a chair. The soldier is the real killer. He wanted to knife the trader but killed the sailor due to his poor eyesight.
What if the barman... Hello.
You have 3 people detained on suspicion of murdering a sailor in a bar fight. All evidence indicates that the soldier among them is the true killer. He was the last man standing.
Very well. Soldier or not, he'll get what he deserves. I'll see to it personally. Nice work. Try solving another case. It seemed you have a knack for it.
clues here. It's you again. Be sure not to miss any clues. Stark will piece them together, you'll see.
Huh. Some loot has been left behind. Whoever took it must have been in a hurry.
Greed and booze got the better of them. No wonder it ended in violence.
Two bullets hit the cart. No traces of blood, though. Droplets of blood. Someone caught a bullet here. Perfectly balanced for throwing. The blade is very sharp. The man with the shotgun fired only 2 shots.
Seems he was too busy bleeding to reload.
A brand new Colt, 45 caliber. The shooter fired 3 rounds. Bent glasses with cracked lenses. Pieces of brass tacks, piranha rounds. Stuck deep in the wood.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The man with the shotgun was killed by a throwing knife to the neck, but not before firing at the man in glasses. The man in the hat took a bullet to his leg, but 2 other bullets missed. The report mentioned he was shot in the heart, but how? There's something I'm missing here. Who could have finished him off? A police boot print. So that's how it ended. I visited the location where the 3 robbers killed each other over some stolen loot, but I wasn't the first to inspect the scene, was I?
No. Officer Schmidt arrived there first, just hours after it was reported. Poor Schmidt. That same day, he received news that his dear old grandmother in Austria had died. He had to leave for the funeral immediately.
He is anything but poor. I doubt he'll be coming back. It was he who killed the last robber and took the loot for himself.
Blast it. I knew he was acting suspiciously. He may be beyond our reach now, but I'll be sure to expose the little weasel when I write my report. Nice work. Feel free to take another case. We make a great team, you and I.
What's up? This place gives me the creeps. What if the vampire comes back?
This is a somewhat neglected and dusty hat. The stone is rather unwieldy, so it couldn't be used as a weapon. Someone fell and hit their head on it.
We're dealing with a very immoderate bloodsucker here.
The flowers are still fresh. Looks like a set of surgical instruments. One is missing. The label is illegible. An expensive hat with a few grey hairs stuck to the brim. Someone tore their trousers here. The blade is bent from the impact. The bleeding wasn't severe, there are just a few drops.
nicely roasted.
I wonder how even the most destitute always somehow manage to scrape together enough for a drink. Psilocybin mushrooms. These are powerful hallucinogens.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
The brother of the deceased became furious when he caught the anatomist exhuming his sister's body. He killed him with a shovel. The graveyard keeper took to his heels, but didn't get far. He fell, hitting his head on a stone, which rendered him unconscious. With the murderer gone, the reporter who was hiding punctured the neck of the first victim to imitate a bite. But when he did the same to the second victim, he killed an unconscious man. So we have 2 murders and 2 murderers, but no vampires.
Vampires are not so scary when you have grave robbers and journalists running around.
Constable Stark, do you believe in vampires?
Eh? What do vampires have to do with anything?
Oh, that's exactly what I thought while looking into the murders at the cemetery. The primary suspect is indeed the murderer, but he's not the only one. The reporter, who so easily fooled everyone with his vampire stories, killed the other victim.
But why would he do that?
He believed the unconscious man to be dead and decided to concoct a thrilling story for his readers.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes. I'll have the conniving little scrub taken in immediately. There's only one case left. Don't let me stop you.
Did you hear? Another sailor's drowned on the beach. What an idiot. Did you hear? Did you hear? Another sailor's drowned on the beach.
Did you hear? Another sailor drowned on the beach. Did you hear? Another sailor drowned on the...
Did you hear? Another sailor's drowned.
Hope you haven't had your lunch yet. This one's bad.
What a waste. The priest said that he came here to stop the ritual. And did you really, Father?
Multiple bare footprints. I should examine them more closely. The hoof prints end in deep furrows. The animal was resisting. The rope is soaked with wine.
My gut tells me some dark magic happened here.
The goat was torn to pieces. Ugh. Savagery. So, we have three lusty women engaged in a ritual. They're drinking and dancing when suddenly they hear a noise from the bushes. Their ritual seems to be working. There's a man they can get drunk already. While two of them are busy with the priest, the third one leaves. She is the one who stole the goat and brought it to the ritual. The poor animal smells trouble and charges at the drunken woman with the amphora. Still, he couldn't break free and at the end was brutally torn apart and eaten alive.
Well, they attracted the attention of men. The police, at least.
Mr. Holmes, I have great news. Our recent accomplishments have earned me a promotion. Sergeant Stark. It has a nice ring to it, hasn't it?
What do you mean, our accomplishments? Of all the nerve, I don't recall you doing very much. I solved all the cases.
Come, Mr. Holmes. I didn't mean to belittle your contribution. After all, legwork is just as important as paperwork.
And what about the brain work?
Also very important. Don't get me wrong, your assistance was most valuable. Anyway, I'll be moving back to the office space. My days at this blasted desk are almost over. I won't be scapegoated now.
Good for you, I suppose. Speaking of scapegoats, I've solved the last case on the board. The goat was stolen by the lady in the blackbird mask. As if that makes any difference, judging by the atrocity I witnessed at the crime scene.
Yes, I heard about that one. The things women get up to these days. Ugh.
Well, I'm glad to have been of service. Now I have other matters to attend to.
Mr. Holmes, if I may be so bold as to make one last request. Do you remember that I told you that our chief inspector has been missing for a few months now? My current task is to establish his fate. I've tried to make sense of his last case, but it's a convoluted mess. I would really appreciate your help.
Why don't you do it yourself? I'm sure there's nothing in that case a police sergeant can't handle.
You're simply much better at it than me. There, I said it.
I won't argue with that, although much better is still an understatement. Fine, you have me intrigued.
Thank you awfully, Mr. Holmes.
Tell me everything you know.
Well, I don't know much. Just that it's connected to a gang called the Hive. Placido has been after their leader, the Hive Master, for years. But otherwise, I can't make head nor tail of it. Here, take the key to Placido's office. You might find some leads in there.
So is it Chief Inspector Placido who has vanished? From what I've gathered, he was a good detective.
Ain't that the truth? He was solving cases like shelling peas. Without him, things have gone downhill. He was a crotchety sort, always grumbling, fussing, taking his snuff by the handful, but I, for one, miss the old boy.
Very well, I'll see what I can find out.
One thing is certain. It's a dangerous business. Be careful, Mr. Holmes.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific. I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
A simplistic attempt at provocation. Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mould-ridden. One presumes deliberately. Saturn devouring his sun. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow beautiful.
The parasites of creativity. Or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. A Malpal butt. The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room, but the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
It's a reflection on mortality. Nothing lasts forever, no beauty sustains itself, and everything succumbs to darkness. Am I right?
I don't know.
Well, that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, my investigation has revealed that the intrusion was not merely vandalism but theft. The limping visitor left your place with a canvas.
That's very impressive.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My, your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin. Even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news. Or at least with a good story.
Mr. Holmes, I have something for you. Mr. Holmes, I see what you're up to. Mysterious stranger pursues betrothed woman. But please, let us keep things professional. I have in my possession an envelope containing details of a special assignment for you. Tell me, are you interested?
I believe I am, but to be very clear, Miss Sertle, my interest extends to the message and not the messenger.
So he claims he's not a gal sneaker, seducing women everywhere he goes. Perhaps the truth is even more scandalous?
Please spare me the speculation. Return to the matter at hand.
A gang of smugglers, the Eels, have Cordona in their clammy grip. The British Empire can abide it no longer. Mycroft insists they be disbanded. But this organization only falls with the capture of their odious leader, Friedrich Panzer. And note well, I did say capture, not kill. Inside your envelope is a map marked with the Eels' warehouses. But alas, we do not know in which Friedrich Panzer resides.
So even Mycroft has his limits.
Indeed. You must be sure to identify the correct warehouse before entering, because once one is compromised, the other's occupants will scatter. Here are all the files, and feel free to use the archive too. Again, do not enter the wrong location, nor see any harm done to Friedrich Panzer.
Miss Sertle, if you're quite done with the redundant instructions, I shall get to work.
Well, that's perfect. Tortured hero lashes out after rejected romance. Tomorrow's edition will be a sensation.
I'll be right here.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, ma'am. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at home?
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police.
Oriental rugs at a good price.
Don't pass by. Welcome. Well, let's pick something that suits you. A good choice. A good choice indeed. Don't miss out on my unique clothes.
Nasılsın?
Merhaba.
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes.
Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. A normal kitchen knife. Could be the murder weapon. The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called Expressionism.
It appears the wine was truly awful. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. The chest has been searched. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werder's description of the stolen painting. The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon? Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? If the intruder didn't take it, the skull should be somewhere here. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a horrible smell I can recognize from a mile away.
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat, and don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
Phew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything correctly. Now, take off your outfit. I can't let you walk around in a dead man's clothes.
Excuse me, just one question.
No, I haven't heard about that.
Do you know anything about this?
Oh, I've heard talk.
İyi.